The global marketing of this stomach medicine is just around the corner. At that time, let alone RMB 10 billion, even RMB 10 billion or RMB 100 billion is nothing in his eyes. Moreover, if he can marry Nanako and become the son-in-law of the Ito family, then Kobayashi Pharmaceuticals will be able to get greater assistance and achieve faster development. It won't take long for Kobayashi Pharmaceutical to surpass J&J in the United States and become the largest pharmaceutical group in the world. On that day, he will be able to stand on top of the world. Thinking of this, he looked at Nanako eagerly, and asked with a smile, "Miss Ito will soon graduate this year, right?" "Yes." Nanako nodded and said, "Graduated in the summer." Jiro smiled and said, "Oh, the senior year is really like a flower. Many girls choose to get married after graduating from college. I wonder if Miss Ito has any ideas in this regard?" Nanako shook her head. "My mind is on martial arts, and I haven't thought of falling in love in a short time." Jiro was not discouraged, and asked, "Then what kind of men does Miss Ito like more?" Nanako said, "I haven't considered this issue because I haven't liked any man." Jiro did not give up, and continued to ask, "Then think about it now. What kind of man can meet your criteria for mate selection?" Nanako thought about it, and then said, "First of all, he must be stronger than me." "Better than you? In what way? In career? In education? Or achievement?" Nanako said very seriously, "It is the strength of martial arts. I don't want to find a man who can't beat me in the future." Jiro coughed awkwardly, and thought to himself, "This Nanako. It doesn't seem to be quiet, but he didn't expect to be so competitive in his bones. She likes martial arts and pursues martial arts. Why do you want to find a man who is stronger than yourself when you fall in love? That is to say, a person who has no power to bind a chicken, doesn't it mean that he has already lost some opportunities when he comes up?" Thinking of this, Jiro said hurriedly, "Miss Ito, is your condition not a bit harsh? There are so many good men in the world, but they may not all practice martial arts, and many martial arts masters are very old. Just like your coach Mr. Yamamoto Kazuki, Ms. Ito would not want to find such a boyfriend, right?" Nanako shook her head and said, "Of course not. The strength is stronger than me. It is only the first requirement. I also have the second requirement. He must conform to my aesthetics and values. In addition, his age must not be older. Over 3 years old, not more than that old, and he must be upright and kind." Jiro asked again, "What about the assets? What are the requirements?" Nanako said, "There are no requirements for assets." Jiro felt a little depressed. "My biggest advantage is my assets. I am the chairman of a family business at a young age. This is rare in Japan. After all, the older generation of entrepreneurs who are normally as old as my father have not retired, and their children are also haven't even begun to inherit the family business." However, he did not expect that Nanako would not care about the other party's assets at all. Could it be that even a pauper, as long as he meets other conditions, she is willing to follow? Depressed, Jiro couldn't help saying, "Miss Ito, President Ito should have certain requirements for your future spouse selection? After all, you are the eldest lady of the Ito family. At this point, you should also consider the opinion of Chairman Ito." Nanako shook his head. "Everything else can be considered father's opinion, but I will not consider the matter of choosing a spouse. This is not only about a person's freedom, but also about the happiness of a person's life. Don't point fingers." Jiro frowned involuntarily. It seems that this super-rich second-generation beauty and super-rich in front of her is very difficult to chew. Just when Jiro didn't know how to cut in, how to pursue Nanako, Charlie had already galloped back and forth on the lake with Aoshui. Aoshui had enough fun, and the chef of the Chin family had prepared a sumptuous meal and banquet, so she drove the boat back to the dock. Later, she returned to the villa with Charlie, and Chin Gang warmly invited Charlie to sit in the luxurious Chinese restaurant in his villa. When Chin Gang arranged the seats, he specifically asked Aoshui to sit next to Charlie. At the same time, he opened a bottle of top-quality motai that had been kept for many years and handed it to Aoshui. "Don't let Master's cup empty." Aoshui took the wine bottle and said softly, "I know, Dad, don't worry." Chin Gang smiled again and said, By the way, Aoshui, the first time Master comes back to our house for dinner, you also accompany Master for a drink." Aoshui smiled shyly, and said obediently, "I know, Dad, then I will drink a little with Master." Charlie smiled slightly and said, "Aoshui, after eating, I will help you absorb the power of the magic drug, so you are not suitable for drinking. If you really want to drink with me, just wait for you to win the championship." Aoshui bit her lower lip lightly, and said unconfidently, "Master, to be honest, if I were to fight Nanako, I wouldn't even be 20% sure. This Nanako really is very powerful. There is no rival among people of the same age." Charlie smiled and asked, "Is Nanako really so amazing?" Aoshui said, "Nanako started martial arts when she was 5 years old, and she has been learning from Japan's top masters. What's more, she practiced a variety of martial arts since childhood, including sanda, fighting, karate, and even Jeet Kune. A talented player. And I only started practicing sanda fighting when I was 10 years old. I have 5 years less skill than Nanako. The gap is too big. Even if your magical medicine can improve my physical function, I may not be able to beat her, because sanda fighting games are not only about physical strength, agility and speed, but also experience and tactics. Experience and tactics are accumulated over time and little by little. It is also the biggest gap between me and Nanako.